Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I'm your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show, where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. And today, I am privileged to be with Pedro Vieira. Thank you, Pedro. Pedro.
Thank you, Stan.
And we have a beautiful backdrop here. We're in, what's the name of this town?
We're in Vila Nova de Gaia, which is on the other side of the city of Porto.
Yes, okay, in this end. So there's Porto right over there. Esporao has that's the winery that Pedro represents in the United States. You take care of Canada and the U.S.?
The U.S., that's
yes.
correct.
And it's a, national sales manager?
It's the national sales manager for North America.
For North America. So big job. Big job. You said, where are you going in the next couple of months?
Yeah, I have, after this Portugal trip, I go up to Texas for a portfolio show, Miami, Charleston, DC, and then eventually I'll end up in San Francisco, and that will probably be it for this year.
Okay, so busy man, very busy man. They sponsor different folks like myself to come over and do a tour of Portugal, where they show us their winery, Esporao in Douro.
And Évora is close to the town that the winery is. But Veira is kind of a important spot because this is where we find out a lot about Portuguese culture, Portuguese gastronomy. However, the winery is in one of the sub-regions of Portugal called Reguengos de Monserrat.
Okay.
Which is an easy word for you to pronounce. I
have a hard enough time with the other winery they have up in the Douro, and that is
Quinta dos Murces.
Murces.
In the sub-region of Cima Corgo.
Okay, got it. So could you tell us a little bit about the story of Esporao, how you got involved, and what their mission is, really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Esporao, in a nutshell, kind of starts with a local farmer from the region of Alentejo that had a vision of creating something special in Alentejo back in the early 1970s. And then he was backed up by somebody that had the cash to support such an idea. So we have Joaquim Bandeira with the idea, and then José Requete with the financial capacity to support such a project. And so they purchased the Herdade do Esporao in Alentejo in 1973, and the idea was to plant top quality varietals to basically produce top quality wines. And if you think about the beginning of the 70s, the wine that was produced in Alentejo was bulk wine. Wine that was delivered and produced by a cooperative, so not totally quality wine.
Yeah.
And so Esporao's project was extremely ambitious back then, but it paid off because we look at it now and we're doing great and producing great wines and extremely stable financially, so it was worthwhile.
Good. Now David Baverstock is the winemaker.
David Baverstock has been our winemaker since 1992. He is originally from Australia. However, he has a lot of Portuguese influence in him right now. Yeah. Not only from the time that he's been here, but from the people that he's been involved with. He actually started his career in Portugal up in the Douro, where we are now, working for the Symingtons. So he did some port blending, and then eventually in '92 he came and worked with us.
All right. So, what you have two other winemakers: a white winemaker, an Esporao, and then the red winemaker, and their names are?
So David Baverstock works as the chief winemaker, and then underneath his guard, if you like, we have Luís Patrão, who is responsible for red wines both in Alentejo and in the Douro, and then Sandra Alves is responsible for whites and rosés, also in both regions.
Okay, and then up in Murces?
Murces.
I'll never get that right, by the way. I've been trying for the last 2 days. Phonetically, it is very difficult for me. I don't know if I'll ever get.
You will. I have a phonetic sheet in a working process, so
good.
You will get that, and it will help you and your customers to pronunciate our terms correctly.
All right, and that is Mick.
Mick is what we call like a flying winemaker. Okay. He's been coming to Portugal for, I believe, for the past 6 years. So he's helped us out during harvest time. And today he actually has quite an important role up in the Douro, That's where David kind of relies a lot on his expertise, and so he is doing harvest an important part of our winemaking team up in the Douro.
And then the lady that we met that oversees the vineyards,
Margarida. Margarida Figueiredo is the person that's been in the Douro Winery for the longest time, and she's really the storyteller. She knows everything about the winery, and she has the most amazing stories to tell about it. So
yeah, we went up into the vineyards up above the winery, and unbelievable that they can even get anybody to work those vineyards. You said some of it was 45 degrees?
30 degrees.
Well, some of those were steeper than 30.
Well, the one that we visited was 30 degrees, and
30
it was
degrees.
So the typical vertical vineyard for our winery, and it was planted in the 1950s. So yeah, very very difficult to work and to treat the vine during the entire year.
Yeah, she said it's hard to get some guys to come up and work.
Absolutely.
So what's the new rule they made? The vertical vineyards is a new thing that was started in the Douro, where normally they trellis, or they
normally the Douro traditional plantation, it is a mountain agricultural practice, and traditionally we do petamars, which basically are terraces. And what happens is you usually plant 2 lines of vineyards per terrace. The biggest advantage for that is, well, there are a couple, but the biggest one is the back line doesn't get the same sun exposure as the front one. So an alternative to get a bit more of consistent sun exposure is to plant them vertically. So in that way you can get the same sun exposure for all trees, and you can plant more trees per hectare as well, so you get more fruit as well.
Yeah, amazing to see these vineyards. So hopefully, I didn't take any videos of them, but I'll put some pictures up that you can see what's going on my blog, stanthewineman.com. Anyway, so we're going to look at the Sobio from Douro, from the winery in Douro. And this one actually, could you hold that up there for me, Pedro? I want to see if we can get a shot of that label. Now this stuff is not readily available. You almost sold out of it, you said?
No, it is available.
Okay.
You guys can get it.
Okay, the 11?
The 11.
Okay,
absolutely.
Excellent. Wine Enthusiast gave this 94 points, called it Best Buy. Runs about $13 retail.
In average,
yeah. And what are the grapes in this blend?
So for the Subiu Red, we use 3 traditional varietals from the Douro, varietals that you actually see in port as well. So we're talking about Tinta Roriz, Touriga Franca, and Touriga Nacional. Tinta Roriz is the same as Tempranillo. In Portugal we have 2 names for Tempranillo. We call it Tinta Roriz in the north, and we call it Aragonês in the south part of Portugal. And Tinta Roriz delivers mostly the tannin, the structure component of the wine. So the second grape will be Touriga Franca, and Touriga Franca derives a little bit from Touriga Nacional. Imagine a Touriga Nacional but with way more acidity. So Touriga Franca is here to deliver that fresh component to the wine. And then finally Touriga Nacional, which is the king grape of Portugal. It's mostly here because it's extremely flowery. You got a lot of violet notes. On the fruit characteristics, blueberries is usually typical. A little bit of black fruit too from Touriga Nacional, so some black currants is typical. And so we base this wine on these 3 varietals, which for us are one of the best varietals that you can work up in the Douro.
Right. Touriga Nacional, by the way, I like the spiciness of it too. It's really comes across peppery with all those other components in it. And Pedro told me the 2010 was drinking really well. I haven't tried the 11 yet. I thought the 10 was fabulous. I mean, that's a great wine.
Absolutely.
So, and by the way, it's what, 9:30 or 10 o'clock right now in the morning. So, I appreciate him doing this because we were going to do it last night, but this group that came here to Portugal, pretty fun bunch.
Absolutely.
Absolutely a fun bunch.
It was a treat.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the V T-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Well, that's all right. We're not going to reveal any secrets. So let's see what we got on this one.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, you definitely get the blue fruit on that one for sure.
I do get the spiciness. I think more obviously on the palate.
Yeah, there's a lot of flowers. You're right. A lot of like
violets
and red flowers.
And by the way, just so you know, the name of the wine, Subiu, in Portuguese means to whistle. So
to whistle.
To whistle. And the reason why we call it Subiu.
Oh, that's right. The
The vineyard that we pick these grapes from is in an extremely steep part of the mountain, so when the wind blows, you can actually hear the whistle. So we call the wine after the vineyard that also has the same name, Esporao.
That's crazy. I didn't even catch. Yeah, that's a really cool spot. You go up on the backside, and there's two kind of valleys, valley that comes together.
Then they meet.
They meet.
Yep.
I wish I could have heard the wind blow. That would have been really cool.
Today because it's windy, but
yeah, looks like it's going to be nice. So I can see it breaking up over there. So, it's been a fun time in Portugal with Pedro. I'm headed to Spain. Great wine, by the way. If you can get your hands on some, you say Esporao? Esporao. Well, if you can get your hands on some, 13 bucks. This is a steal. So definitely, I am supporting Esporao. Not because they sent me to Portugal, just because every wine I've tasted from you guys, I have not been disappointed. The Alentejo White, I've been smoking with that one. That's a pretty inexpensive wine. I think it's 7 bucks.
Yep.
I sell it for 7 bucks at the store. But they're 13 all the way up to 40. All of them stellar. Thanks, Pedro.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you for everything you've done.
Thanks for accepting my invitation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to keeping the snob out of wine. Thanks for watching.